Yes, we still do cast pro games around here. And not just any pros either, we've got two fan favorites today. Two guys who went head to head on this channel just a couple weeks ago. In what might have been the funnest game I've seen in a very long time. That is an early scout consistent with a hatch block, but we gotta keep an eye on it because MaxPax is no stranger to cheeses. It's a low ground pylon for Protoss, and if you haven't checked out that previous contest I just referred to, I highly recommend. So does this Overlord, he just hatched to tell you about it. Our map is Oxide, a smaller, tighter map that's now out of rotation. My bad, I've been kinda having fun casting all these games with the Scion custom races. MaxPax was on time, if not early, for the hatch block. Dark didn't have his 300 minerals and has to redirect to the lateral third. It's a vulnerable spot, I can't think of anything good to say about it other than it's not the triangular third. MaxPax's gateway is down and we're going to be seeing an extractor pool out of Dark. MaxPax probe is going to be in position to see that, which reminds me we need to do some intros. Our Zerg player is a German science fiction series found on Netflix. He is Dark!
Current world rank 5.
Dark's Korean nickname is the Final Boss. If anyone plans on winning a premier tournament, he's the guy they gotta get through. It's Nexus before Core for our Protoss player. He's actually 9 years younger than Dark. He's only 17, Dark's 26. Oh, early third for Dark. This isn't normal. Look at that, that went down before the 2-minute mark. This is a greedier opening that can really pay off if the Zerg doesn't get pressured early. Left alone, the Zerg will have 3 hatcheries up and humming in no time. In fact, it looks like hatch number 2 is about to pop right about now. Oh, I killed that timing. Oh, Zugzwang, you're so special. Okay, so here's the thing. He doesn't have the money to make 2 queens, especially since he's opted for Zergling speed. So you can really see that early trade-off. It's a Stargate for Protoss. In the top right is a coffee filter ring from 1972. He is MaxPax!
MaxPax makes great coffee a sure thing.
Current world rank 15.
MaxPax's win rate against Protoss is over 70% right now. That's almost unheard of. Dark's bringing up his 2 Zerglings right now, not counting his queens, that's the sum total of his entire army. He is looking to catch up on queens though by making 2 at a time right now. That door may look open, but it is not. MaxPax did not shade away, stayed back for the door guard. 3 hatches in less than 3 minutes. And as we just saw, there is no adept coming up to punish Dark for this. Instead, MaxPax will start up that Void Ray. Note that MaxPax delayed his warp gate research to do this. That suggests he could be putting an emphasis on air for this game. But MaxPax is one of those players who's capable of turning on a dime, so who knows? Ling speed's gonna finish up for Dark. Maybe he'll even get some Lings to go with it at some point. Notice that he's still only got 1 drone on a single gas geyser. He just wants minerals, workers, queens, and Lings, all of which only require minerals. Overlord's stuck around, he's gonna find out about the Void Ray, and it's only gonna cost him his life. And because he's in a pulpy grave, he will not see that MaxPax is making an oracle behind the Void Ray, or that he's going for a 3rd. Both players with a very economic-focused game early. Dark continues to gamble. His first tech choice is an Evo chamber. But why not? MaxPax has yet to cross over his side of the map with anything other than a probe. Although this oracle means to change that. But not just an oracle, it's a double-pronged attack. The Void Ray is sliding down the left center, the oracle's taking the right flank. It's not clear which is the fake out trying to suck in those queen defenders. Could be that MaxPax will decide based on what he sees. Void Ray meets some queens, oracle dives in. The oracle trades its shields and a little bit of armor for a drone, and drops that revelation tag to keep an eye on things. For the record, the Information and Privacy Commission frowns upon you leaving revelations in your neighbor's house. I mean, seriously, how does a zealot take a shower in peace? Some perverted Templar could be dropping a revelation at any moment. Zerg has the worker lead already, and he's finally getting himself a combat tech structure, a Baneling nest. MaxPax is already onto his double Stargate though, and he's starting up the Robo. And he's researching +1 air attack. He actually started doing that before he even put down a forge. So this is gonna be a full-on sky toss. The kind that is very ubiquitous these days. But it doesn't look like Dark's gonna be in any kind of position to respond to it with the Roach Ravager rush. I make that ingenious observation because he doesn't have a Roach Warren. 2 voids beat a queen, so she beats a hasty retreat to the Spore. Then her sisters arrive and MaxPax pulls out. MaxPax is being uber cautious. I think he feels he has his best chance winning this late game and he doesn't want to make any mistakes early. The problem though is that Dark's gone heavy on economy. He's going to be in a good position to meet MaxPax in the late game. Oracle's going to attempt to dive in the main. Looks around for a scout, no pulsar beams. He pulls out when the Spore starts giving him beats. Yeah, I don't think MaxPax is looking to do all that much damage with these pokes. What? It's a queen walk? Did I totally miss the Roach Warren? Does Dark think he can do this without roaches? He must know a way. Well, he does have a lot of queens and he does have a baneling nest. He's got 9 queens, that is a lot. And there's the banelings morphing just outside the Protoss 3rd. No shield batteries going up for MaxPax. Does he have enough Void Rays? If Dark pulls this off, I'm gonna be so impressed. I'm gonna be like, how come nobody else has ever thought of this? Without roaches, a big round of zealots could really murder those queens. I guess the idea is that the Ling Bane will prevent that. Okay, shield batteries are getting made in the back there. Banelings going for the mineral line. They don't have Baneling speed. MaxPax is ahead of him with that probe pull. And the Void Rays just annihilate the Banelings. But the queens have softened up the Void Rays and they're pulling back. Dark sends in another wave of Banelings. There's no probes there. But the 3rd belongs to Zerg. Oh, is MaxPax looking to counterattack? He's thinking Dark doesn't have any queens at home. He might be able to beat him there. No, he changes his mind. He doesn't want a base race. And the Banelings go for the natural. Clutch force field to hold off the Banes. And the returning Void Rays crucify the Banelings. Still, the trophy goes to Dark. He got the Nexus, and he's marching his queens home. MaxPax is supply blocked. It's a race, Void Rays versus queens. MaxPax is not going to stop to kill that juicy overlord. He's got bigger, slimier fish to fry. But look at this, Dark has 4, soon to be 5 queens at his 3rd. MaxPax sees that and he pulls right back. And it is Dark who has the much bigger army. It's all queens. He's getting his lair, he's getting a 2nd evolution chamber, and he's making a huge round of drones to jump ahead economically. And he's got a hit squad doubling back to the 3rd. But MaxPax hasn't actually rebuilt it yet. So all that happens is that Void Ray is going to inflate his kill count. But now he's going to try to put up his 3rd. This dude's got some serious MaxPaxes if he thinks he's going to get that Nexus up with those Lings right there. Oh, it's turning into the door challenge. There's an Adept and a Sentry there, and somehow through all of this, MaxPax managed to squeeze out a Disruptor and stash it in his natural. Meanwhile, Dark drops an Infestation Pit, and deflects a would-be attack on his 4th. I guess that's doable when you've got 2 queens for every void. 2 queens for every void. Yes, I was meant to be a member of the Beach Boys. MaxPax getting to work on that 3rd. And killing that Overlord actually supply blocked Dark. This is crazy. We've seen Dark do this before where he just goes all Ling. He gets his hive just to get that crackling upgrade. You wouldn't think it would really work against a double Stargate build, but here we are. Is he going to get the cancel on the 3rd? More importantly, what are the probes doing? They're coming back too early. Probe death, and he's going to get the Disruptor. No, he flees. Even still, 6 probe deaths and a Nexus cancel, all with Jeep Lings. I mean, Dark's only really got his extractors going in the last minute. But MaxPax is adapting. He's pulling out the carriers. And he's going to make sure he has some static D before he puts up that Nexus again. One thing for certain, Dark will be back. There's those carriers at that Stargate, and we have a mini gateway explosion. Also, the belatedly appreciated Flux Veins is researching. MaxPax splits his Void Rays and tries to attack from 2 sides again. This is tough. Dark just has so many queens. And Dark is researching Pathogen Gland. That's unusual. He doesn't actually have an infestor. Oh, MaxPax is YOLOing in on the hatchery. He's hit the prismatic alignment for the wide beam. Dark tries to transfuse, but it goes down. Oh, huge stasis ward. Almost missed that. That is going to save MaxPax's 3rd. Oh, and Protoss has a Disruptor waiting for those Lings to come off of stasis. Oh, this could be great. Please don't let me miss this. He's got to time this just perfect. Everybody's watching the status bar decline. He could go for a record number of Zerglings here. Here's the shot. And nothing. It was too soon. It was a whiff. Low-tech force fields and zealots are going to do what that disruptor couldn't. Oh, that is too bad. That would have been a sweet slow-mo replay. Can't win them all. Hive's done. Dark is getting that crackling upgrade, but he's also getting an Ultralisk Cavern. We've definitely seen the Ultralisk beat carrier strategy before. It's a weird one, but it works. The theory is their hide becomes too thick for the interceptors to really do anything. And by the time the carrier brings that Ultralisk down, he's already ravaged half the Protoss base. MaxPax is sticking with air. He's still building carriers and he's getting +2 air attack. But not exclusively, he's mixing in the Zealot leg upgrade and getting +1 ground attack. And at the 10-minute mark, his first observer. I think he wants that to go after the creep. This is stabilizing into a real back and forth game. Oh, Oracle cast Revelation. All those queens have had their browser histories revealed. Their spouses are not gonna like what they see. Man, oracles can be so annoying. Dark picking up that all-important chitinous plating upgrade. MaxPax has jumped ahead on army. His aerial enhanced death ball's looking scary. He's picked up the battle duck and he starts +3 air attack. These queens can turn back the Protoss air, but only if they dodge the disruptor hits. There's a real interplay that goes on here with these compositions. Of course, Dark is now added in the Vipers. I think that's for abducts, because every Zerg player needs waterfowl. It is an abduct right on top of the queens. MaxPax sees that and decides to recall while he still can. The crackling upgrade is done. Oh, a Zealot run by in the natural drops Dark's drone count from the 90s down to 78. But with Dark so close to maxing out, maybe MaxPax did him a favor. Battle Duck researching Storm, that doesn't bother an Ultralisk so much. But it can be a good deterrent to crackling. Oh, Dark starts up a very late Baneling speed. And his first Ultras are gonna go into production. MaxPax is gonna get himself a 4th base in that upper left-hand corner. So, just to recap what Dark is doing here, he's taking on the Golden Armada without a Spire and without Hydras either. He's taken the 2 standard methods and he's thrown them out the window. He's saying, I'm doing this with Queens, Cracklings, and Ultras. You wouldn't think it could be done, but Dark dropped the 3rd with just Queenling Bane. And here he is with a lead on army, a lead on drones. And as he starts his 6th base, he's gonna be up 2 bases. I mean, it's not out of the question. Look how income dominant he is. And he's gonna try to keep it that way by going after MaxPax's 4th. There's not enough defense there. Dark's a little indecisive in deciding what to attack, but he settles on the Nexus. What a fantastic visual. He gets the cancel, the Nexus disperses into Energon cubes. Is there any franchise that Blizzard didn't borrow from? Ultralisk speed completes, as does Storm. MaxPax already remaking that 4th base. But if he can't find a way to defend it, he's gonna be in trouble. His income is really far behind now. Dark is gonna max out on Ultras, and he's gonna research Burrow. He's gonna burrow Lings and make it hard for MaxPax to expand without getting observers. Void Rays splitting off from the main army. Oh, those charge lots discovered the Zerglings have adrenal glands with their enhanced attack speed that completely changes the math. Oh, no, I am wrong. Dark is maxing out with Infestors. I'm guessing that's for the Lambo maneuver, where you fungal growth the Protoss air, and then you hit it with parasitic bombs. The Protoss can't split, and they take too much damage. It's a very micro-intensive maneuver. I don't think I've ever seen it done without Corruptors, but there's no reason you can't do it without Corruptors. MaxPax's carrier count is pretty healthy, but here come the Ultras. Carriers just don't bother them so much. They don't mind a little bit of rain. Oh, Dark might cut off that 4th base. If he does, it's a goner. MaxPax says, I actually got more interceptors than you think. Dark says, I actually got more transfuses ready than you think. Oh, MaxPax is gonna let his 4th complete. I think he's gonna regret that. He needs this hold. The Queens are really reducing the interceptor count. He's also reducing the carrier count as a whole. Everybody's losing supply, but it's Dark who has the money to replenish here. Those Ultras might be overextending. Dark may not care. It's giving him an opportunity to get at that 4th. Zealots didn't do so good against the Cracklings. They're going to try their hand against those Ultras. That's not normally a good matchup, and it's even harder when you're dealing with transfused Ultras. What are the Ultras actually being transfused with? I mean, what blood is stronger than what they already have? I mean, if you're transfusing with queen blood, that should make them weaker. MaxPax's secret Void Ray stash getting some damage down on the other side of the map. He's gonna need that because he just lost his 4th. No, you Ultras cannot take that 3rd. Oh, but maybe with Infestors they can do some serious damage. No, MaxPax spots the Infestors. He kills those off. He needed that. Oh, and he got the natural. Unbelievable. Protoss hanging in. Void Ray is very good solution for those Ultralists. Prismatic alignment really going to help cut through that armor. 25 dead probes. Dark getting solid value for his Ultras here. And he's maxed out, so trading is the name of the game for him here. He does get the natural. Both players have had their incomes cut in half. But I think the reality is that cuts deeper for MaxPax. Look at that, Dark's creep covering almost 2/3 of the map. But since we're dealing with Oxide, that probably doesn't impress anybody. Scarlet at the 15-minute mark. If her opponent had no observer, she'd probably cover the entire map. But obviously, I'm not disparaging Dark. He's doing tremendous here. Void Ray's picking up those Ultralists nice and early. This almost feels like they're playing a tower defense game. MaxPax gets free hits, but can he kill the Ultras before they get to his base? Oh, they're finding transferring probes. MaxPax down to 22 workers. I guess the good news for him is he doesn't have many patches to mine anyway. Wow, the durability of Ultras is really on exhibition here. Dark is remaking 2 of his bases. MaxPax 0. But we've seen this before. As long as Protoss has that golden armada, they are not out of the game. Dark cannot fight MaxPax directly, not without his huge pack of queens. And the Protoss can outmaneuver the queens, especially with recall. Speaking of the queens, here they come. Interceptors, exploding in the air like fireworks everywhere. What is that orange spray? Are there infestors? There are! That is Microbial Shroud, people! I've never seen this in a pro game. Oh, it's finally happened. I am so thrilled. Any Zerg ground unit in that cloud takes half damage, and that includes queens. Oh, Dark planned this. He got that Infestor energy upgrade. Boom, he covers all his queens again. MaxPax sees it, he has to withdraw. He's got to let it time out. He can't beat the queens like that. Is this a legitimate strat by Dark, or is this a get out of the game thing? I gotta talk about this in the post game, but I've been begging players to do this for ages. This is how he's gonna defeat the Protoss without a Spire or without Hydras. Microbial Shroud. Do it again, do it again, do it again. He's doing it again. MaxPax down to 18 probes. He's got no money. He can't remake his interceptors anymore. Dark's battle plan was enshrouded in mystery, but it has been revealed. Thank goodness to MaxPax for not GGing out of this game before we got to see that. The Ultralists are hunting down the last of the probes. They don't care if the Void Rays shoot at them. He's like, a little more to the left. I have an itch I need you to scratch. And there's the GG. Apologies if you've all seen that Microbial Shroud before, but for me, it's new and very welcome. People, gather round for a great tale of the PvZ meta. Hear the story of the Microbial Shroud, an odyssey of orange greatness. Our tale begins in the far-off land of the Void Ray. The Void Ray was an underutilized unit, and this was a problem as it was one of the OG and a Blizzard favorite. At the same time, Protoss Air was on decline as a strategy. Blizzard made some balance adjustments, but as we all know, the Starcraft meta is like a tapestry. When you pull on even the tiniest of threads, there are always repercussions far and beyond what is intended. You can't predict what humans will do with any change, and that resulting chaos is very much like a butterfly effect. In this case, step one for Blizzard was to remove the Infestor spell, Infested Terran. It was too good, making life hard for Protoss and Terran, and it was replacing too many other choices. You may not remember this, but Blizzard had tinkered with the Infested Terran towards the end so that it did far more damage to air than ground, making it a powerful anti-air unit. Perhaps the hope at the time was to slow the growth of Queenapalooza, but if so, it didn't quite work because queens were still needed in early game. Also, admittedly, the spell was kind of weird that Zerg would suddenly cough up Terrans in the middle of a PvZ. In any event, The removal of the infested Terrans stripped away one of Zerg's methods of responding to air threats. So in response, Blizzard gave the infestor the Microbial Shroud, a cloud that lasts 11 seconds and reduces damage from air attacks to the units protected by the cloud by 50%. Cast range 9, radius of 3. Let's just say the reception was poor. So Blizzard went with the obvious and decided to buff the Shroud. Radius increased from 3 to 3.5. Energy cost reduced from 100 to 75. And you no longer needed Hive before you could research it. The result? Everyone immediately began using the Shroud. No, of course not. It was total crickets. Blizzard then decided to offer back massages and free toaster ovens to any pro player who would use it. Unsurprisingly, there were still no takers. Maybe they should have gone with Shiba Inu tokens. In a final gasp of defeat, Blizzard removed the requirement to research Microbial Shroud entirely. Every infestor had to have it. And also an orange t-shirt. We coded a new spell, darn it. That's not easy to do, you ungrateful gamers, and it's not like SC2 is exactly a major profit center for us anymore. Then they slammed their door and went to find a tub of ice cream. Just kidding. Blizzard's responsiveness was incredible and I am grateful. And the devs hadn't given up on the Void Ray either. At the end of 2019, Blizzard introduced a new upgrade for the Void Ray called Flux Veins. Just like the Microbial Shroud with the Zerg players, none of the pro Protoss players touched Flux Veins. Nobody, that is, except an obscure genius professional Protoss player from Taiwan named But Always, but I digress. The problem was, it didn't matter how fast you made the Void Ray, it was fragile. The thing was like a warp prism, an expensive toy that would break easily. Only, unlike the warp prism, it didn't have the utility to justify the cost. After a year of disuse, Blizzard tried to save the Void Ray again. At the time, there was a long-standing belief that Protoss was unable to get to late game on equal footing with the Zerg, and so Starcraft II and its fans were being denied that sweet late game drama. The theory was that the Void Ray could have a role as the mid-game savior. This time Blizzard got serious. They dropped the Void Ray build time from 43 seconds to 37 seconds. That's huge at the pro level. They upped the base movement speed even faster so that it moved quick even before Flux Veins were researched. And finally, Blizzard dropped the cost of the Void Ray itself by 50 resources. 250 150 to 200 150, which is a decrease of 12.5%. Suddenly, the Void Ray was looking pretty good. It took only a few weeks before Void Rays became a thing. The kicker was that Protoss discovered if you built a double Stargate and researched air attack, not only were Void Rays themselves pretty capable, once your economy got going at that booming pace, you already had the infrastructure you needed already built to just transition into carriers and max out. All you had to do was flip a switch. Suddenly, the Golden Armada was once again a thing. We saw dozens of variations, but eventually what happened is you had this killer airball with a swarm of interceptors, but with storm-wielding Templar on the ground. Anything Zerg would bring to counter the carriers would get crushed by the storm, especially Hydras. Now these days, we're actually seeing more Disruptors than Templar, but that's a story for another time. As such, the story of 2021 was really a tale of Zerg trying to figure out how to beat the new double Stargate Protoss. The primary method was the Corruptor, but the problem was, since the Corruptor was armored, the Protoss could add Void Rays back in and kill them with prismatic alignment. Or my favorite tactic, if Zerg really overcommits to Corruptors, we would see a very entertaining switch into late game Stalkers. Meanwhile, Hydras just weren't working because of the aforementioned storm. Their hit points are designed to be too low to withstand storms. This resulted in the conclusion that Zerg couldn't win late game, so they had to win early. This brought us a revival of the Queen Walk, and even more queens than ever. At its heyday, the great Lambo even invented the German taxi, in which queens were ferried to the Protoss wall by way of overlords with ventral sacks. Purists like myself were going nuts because the original intent of the Queen was that it was meant to be a rare support unit. In fact, in its original design, the Zerg only got one of them, kind of like a hero unit or the mothership. Instead, we were getting games where players had more queens than lings, but the Zerg had to do something. They had to survive. And something they did. They perfected the Roach Ravager Rush, and that became a thing that was everywhere. And in response, shield batteries became more and more essential, as was battery overcharge. A lot of really fun things were happening. The meta had a lot of positives in 2021. 2021 was a great year for the game. But at its worst, even the Night King Serral publicly admitted he was avoiding going to the late game against Protoss. His chances were just too poor. When Serral is disparaging game balance, something is not quite right. For his part, Serral was seen implementing the strategy we originally saw Dark use in this game, Ultralisks to kind of ignore the carriers. A strategy that really required a kick-butt economy because a lot of Ultras were going to die in the service of the Swarm. Enter Professor Lambo again. As I mentioned during the cast, he was the original Zerg player to declare late-game PvZ was doable. His method was the very micro-intensive fungal growth plus parasitic bomb, usually plus neural parasite, a tactic we'd also seen Raynor bust out. But now I think we are finally seeing the full tapestry. There is another way, and Dark has illustrated it in this game. The Microbial Shroud has been with us all along. Dark plays the role of Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz and finds that he has the power to beat Protoss air. And I think we won't just see Microbial Shroud used on just queens. We're going to see the orange soup tried on Hydras next, and even tangerine-colored blankets protecting Ravagers. What flows from this is Protoss is now going to have to be ready with a ground switch, and that's going to be tough for them. Zealots can kill those queens, but Zealots struggle against both Ultras and Cracklings. So, while the story of Microbial Shroud may be entering its next chapter, the story of PvZ is far from over. And so my opinion is, even though StarCraft is an old game, it's actually just reaching the height of its powers in terms of an interesting and enriched meta. Well, that was a lot, so thanks for letting me get that off my chest. The recent reception to this channel has just been great, and I am grateful for all the new subscribers. You've really helped support my channel with that, and so I thank you. So from my base to yours, Zugzwang out. To continue your StarCraft journey, Nova advises you to click the video in the upper rectangle. But Kerrigan warns you to watch your 6 and click the video in the bottom rectangle. Or you can stimpack your StarCraft experience. Subscribe to Zugzwang StarCraft. Just hit the circle. From my base to yours, Zugzwang out.